Hello everyone, Neil Tappin here from Golf Monthly and welcome to the London Club. And this video in which we're going to take a look at 7 rules that can save you shots. This is about knowing the rules in enough detail to know when they can come to your rescue out on the course. Now the advice in this video comes courtesy of Golf Monthly's rules guru, that's Jezz Ellwood. He'll talk you through exactly what you can and can't do in certain scenarios and exactly how the rules can help you while you're out on the golf course competing. Guys, if you're new to the Golf Monthly channel, please do hit the subscribe button. But let's head out now onto the golf course here at the London Club and look at the 7 rules that could save you shots. Right, Jez, so I'm just to the right of the 16th green. It's not a very good lie at all, but I think this area here might be a tyre track.
Yeah.
But again, I'm not 100% sure as to whether I get a drop from this tyre track. So what's the best way for me to proceed under the rules?
Well, I mean, the first thing to say is that tyre tracks generally under the rules you don't get relief from.
Oh.
But there might be a local rule permitting relief in certain conditions if, for example, the tracks have become pretty deep and it would be unfair to expect you to play from them. But you have to know that that local rule is in force. You don't know. I don't know what to do. So it could be a scenario where the golf course has got really wet over the last few weeks, tyre tracks are being left, and I guess the competition committee might decide, okay, you get relief in that scenario. Yeah. But I don't know here. No. So what do I do? Well, what you can do in this scenario, and I don't know that too many golfers know this rule, 20.1c allows you to play 2 balls from this spot.
Right.
Report the events to the committee and they will say to you, no, you couldn't take relief, so that ball had to count, or yes, you could take relief, so that ball has to count.
Right, okay, so in this scenario, I'd find my nearest point of complete relief?
Nearest point of complete relief, well, you're assuming that you get relief from that, so you would look for your nearest point of complete relief where the tyre tracks no longer interfere with your stance or area of intended swing or where the ball is lying.
So about here, drop one there.
Yeah.
And then I'd play both balls.
Right, but before you do that, you have got to declare to someone else you're playing with which of the 2 balls you want to count subject to the rules permitting.
Ah, so you can't suddenly go, actually, I made a par with that ball and a double bogey with that one. We'll just carry on as if I did nothing.
You can't do that. Once you've decided to invoke, if you like, this rule, you have to say which ball you want to be the counting one. If you don't do that before you've played, the one you hit first will be deemed to be the one you've selected to be the counting one.
Right, okay.
And another thing it's worth noting is even if you make the same score with both balls, let's say you get up and down both times, you still have to report, once you've put this rule into force, you still have to report it to the committee before signing the card, even if you made the same score with both.
And it makes no material difference to the score that you made in your round of golf?
It's just, you have decided to invoke this rule, now you've got to see it through, and the committee will say that ball stands. Okay, it might be the same score that goes down the scorecard, but you do have to say to the committee what happened and let them make the call.
So there you have it. This rule is well worth knowing. You might think this scenario is rare, but it can happen. And if you're not 100% sure what the rules are, playing 2 balls could be the best way to proceed. This one you're going to need to use your imagination for. So imagine you're playing golf on a really terrible day, it's rained all the way through the day and the bunkers are starting to fill up with water. And let's say that the ball that's down there in the bunker is underwater.
Yep.
Jez, what are the options open to you in this scenario?
Well, you're allowed relief. It would be classed as temporary water. Your only problem is that free relief is only available if you drop within the bunker. If you have to drop outside the bunker, it costs you a shot. Right,
so you really want to avoid having to go outside the bunker, but what happens if the bunker's pretty full with water?
Yep. Okay, well, what you can do in this scenario is take maximum available relief rather than complete relief. And that would basically mean, let's just imagine the water goes up to there, and this is still sand here.
Yeah.
I could drop in that, even though my feet would still be in the water, so I haven't taken complete relief. I could drop at that point of maximum available relief, hopefully get a half decent lie, and save myself a penalty drop.
Right, I've got it. So in other situations on the course, that would be an illegal drop, as it were. But in this scenario, this is maximum available relief. That taking relief while still standing in the water is fine.
Yeah, maximum available relief applies here. It also applies on the putting green if you're trying to take relief from an accumulation of temporary water and there is nowhere where there is complete relief. You can again there take maximum available relief.
Yeah, so there's a subtle difference to the rules in a scenario like this that can come to your rescue. In a scenario like this, Jez, if you did have a bit of sand that you could play a bunker shot from, it would definitely, I think, save you a shot. Right, Jezz, this is a hideous situation here. Ball's plugged right at the face of the bunker.
Yeah.
How might the rules come to my rescue here?
Well, I think here what we're looking at really is particularly people who have a real issue with bunkers. Imagine this bunker has a much steeper face and you just can't get the ball up and out.
I don't think I'd be able to get that out.
Well, you wouldn't be able to get that out, so you could always take an unplayable and you could go back to where you last played it from, which could be, 200 yards away maybe, I don't know. You can drop it within 2 club lengths of where it's lying or back on line for a 1-shot penalty, but it has to be within the sand.
Right, okay.
So it has to be within this bunker.
Yeah, so if I go back online,
yeah,
take a drop,
yeah,
that ball's going to plug, isn't it?
It looks like it because that sand has been fluffed up, so you're probably then going to be facing a 65-yard bunker shot that's semi-plugged.
With a bunker right in front of me, good chance I'm going to hit it in that bunker. So this isn't looking so good right now.
No,
I don't know quite what my best option is here.
Okay, well, I mean, this video is about saving yourself shots, so it might seem strange to recommend something that's actually costing you another shot straight away. But you do now have the option from here to drop back online outside the bunker for an extra shot penalty.
Right, okay. And there is a spot just behind the camera that is flattish, that offers me a shot of around about 70 yards that I'd feel fairly comfortable getting that somewhere near the flag.
Yeah.
That might be my best scenario, regardless of whether I was a good bunker player or a terrible bunker player in this situation.
It might be, yeah. I think most half-decent golfers would fancy their chances of maybe dropping it here and having a go, but there is an opportunity now if you really don't fancy it. As I say, if this bunker was a steep face thing with heather on top or whatever, you could end up racking up big numbers, whereas you're actually quite a decent 70-yard pitcher. You think, well, I'm either going to get it down in 2 or 3 that way. Okay, it's cost me an extra penalty shot, but I've probably hedged my bets and perhaps saved myself a nightmare. Yeah,
well, it's one of those that the initial pain of the extra penalty shot might just be too much for you to get your head around. You might want to go for it, but in the long run, it could end up saving you shots, and that's why it's well worth knowing. Right, Jezz, so my ball is in a red penalty area. Okay, no two ways about it. I can see the 2 red stakes are behind where my ball is. What's the thing that people should know in this scenario that could help them?
Well, the thing they should know is that you can play the ball as it lies. You don't have to take one of the relief options for a penalty area, which would be going back to where you last played from, dropping back online as far as you like, or taking from a red penalty area 2 club lengths lateral relief.
Yes, so I can play this as it lies, but the situation that we're in here is quite an interesting one because there's lots of sort of brambles and twigs and nasty stuff around the ball. What am I allowed to remove here? Yeah,
well, this is where it becomes a little bit more of a choice between, is this going to potentially save me shots or is it going to cost me shots? I think in the past, that stuff, you wouldn't have been allowed to touch that. Anything that's loose there, you'd have had to just leave and take your chances. Now, you can remove the loose impediments in a penalty area just as you can elsewhere on the course, but you do still have to be careful. If you do that and the ball moves, you will be penalised.
Yes, so unattached things like stones or leaves or twigs, fine. I'm not sure, I don't think any of those are unattached though. These were previously bushes. I think they're all attached in some way.
They probably are, so you best not touch anything, especially as I think the ball would probably move if you did anyway. So it's your choice now. Can you knock this on the green and potentially save yourself shots, or will it go the other way?
Well, let's find out. Go.
Oh, I didn't see a splash.
I think that's okay.
Have you potentially just saved yourself a shot?
Possibly. Okay, Jezz, we are in exactly the same perilous spot just inside the red penalty area. If I wanted to take a drop, how might I be able to use the rules to my advantage?
Okay, well, obviously, taking a drop, you are costing yourself a shot because it's a penalty, whereas you could play it. You've decided it's not worth the risk. But what you can now do is choose pretty much, not 100%, but you can pretty much choose where you play it from. You've got to go back online, so you've got to keep that point between you and the flag, the point where it last crossed the edge to be about here. But then you can go back as far as you like.
Right, so I think what people might want to do is drop it as close as possible.
I think people are often tempted to because they think, oh, I've got to drop it fairly close, and it leaves themselves the shortest possible shot. But here, you could end up in a spot where you're highly likely to just top it back into the water.
Yeah, I mean, that's not too bad there, but if I dropped it there, I'd be in real danger of hitting it back in the water, which would be an absolute disaster.
Get it the wrong side of a tuft and you're really snookered, aren't you? So what you really should do in this scenario is go back to a distance that you really like. Let's just say 110 yards is your distance. Drop there if that's a nice piece of grass, nice place to play from, or go back to where there is some decent grass. And just behind the camera here, there's a 2 metre wide path that's cut to more or less fairway height. And I think most golfers, for the sake of another club, this would be maybe 10 yards, would be far better off going to there where they're more likely to get a clean strike.
Yeah, Jezz, I think this is about having that presence of mind when you're feeling a little bit under pressure, you're feeling a little bit like think the wheels are potentially coming off your round. You need to have that presence of mind to know, actually, go another 10 or 15 yards further back to a much, much better lie. Your chance of hitting the green from just behind where the camera is versus a heavy lie over here become greatly increased. So have Jezz's tips in mind. It will really help you in a situation a bit like this. Okay, so for this one, you're going to have to imagine for a second that the flag is here, where this tee peg is quite sort of towards the edge of the green, quite close to this penalty area. And Jezz, what do people need to know in this sort of scenario? I mean, it's going to be a difficult one to remember if the red mist is descending, if you just hit a poor shot. But what can happen here?
Well, I mean, it's a rare scenario, but it has happened, I think, and it could just happen where you putt off a green into a bunker or into a penalty area.
Or maybe it catches a slope and goes way down the fairway and you're left with a long shot in. Yeah,
sorry to interrupt there, but that did actually happen to me once at Lahinch. Big wind coming straight back down the first. I chipped greenside, caught the wrong side of a ridge, and the ball did actually go about 70 yards down the fairway.
You look quite silly, but actually...
But that's how it was.
It happens, and it pays to know the rules. So what do you need to know in this scenario?
Well, what you can do in this scenario is you can take stroke and distance relief and go and play the putt again. So rather than going down here, spending ages working out where you'd have to drop, and it might be a very undesirable place, it might leave you a very difficult shot, you're now armed with the knowledge of what you did wrong on that 20-footer the first time.
Hit it too hard.
You actually think you hit it a lot too hard, yeah. You actually think, well, I can improve on that, and I've actually got more chance of taking fewer strokes by replaying the putt than going and taking relief somewhere around the penalty area.
You're going to need to stay quite cool under pressure here because, as I said, trying to remember exactly this rule in this scenario might be tricky, but it does pay. And I mean, I think we both agree that if you did do what I've just done there, your best option is to play the shot again. As I said, just make sure you don't hit it too hard. Yeah,
and I can see, particularly if you putt into a bunker with a big steep lip, or you're right up against the lip or right against the back of the bunker or whatever, you really might take several strokes to get out, mightn't you? Whereas you could just go and have another go at the putt, maybe hole it.
Yeah.
And effectively that would just be a 3-putt.
So there you have it. Knowing the rules in this scenario can certainly save you shots. Right, Jezz, so I'm in a bit of bother now because my ball was in the penalty area. It's definitely in the penalty area. And I've, as you can see, hit it straight into the water. So what are my options here? How are you going to help potentially save me shots?
Okay, well, I think the way that you can save a shot here is that you have an extra option at your disposal here to what you might think.
Right, yes.
The ball on your shot never crossed the edge of the penalty area, did it?
No.
So
not even close.
You can take another drop there where you last played that shot from. That's probably not that appealing because it's pretty heavy and it just didn't pan out that well.
It didn't work out well first time.
And then the ball hasn't crossed the edge on this shot, but you can go back to where it last crossed the edge, which was here maybe.
Yeah.
You can take 2 club lengths from there.
So I could have another go from around somewhere over here.
Yep.
But that means I'm still playing over the water.
You can go back.
Don't fancy that shot.
Nope, you can go back as far as you like on that line, keeping that point between you and the flagstick.
Still going over the water, don't fancy that very much.
Okay, and this is where the rules could potentially save your shot. You also have an option to retrace your steps back to the last shot that did cross the edge and play again from there for no extra penalty shots.
Right, so if the shot that I hit that ended up here was, let's say, a tee shot, I could go back and hit that tee shot again?
You could do. So you've played a shot here, that was your second shot. You then taking a relief option, one shot, and whichever option you go for, you would then be playing your 4th shot.
So there you have it. I mean, I'd say a fairly rare scenario, but it is worth remembering that you can get into a bother in this scenario where you suddenly start racking up a lot of shots very quickly and things can get away from you quite quickly. And actually having the presence of mind to knowing that there is a 4th option, as Jezz said, it might just save you shots. So there you have it, that's our list of 7 rules that could save you shots. Before you go, please do hit the pause button and leave some comments below. What do you think? Is there anything you think that we've missed? And also, if you need any clarification on any of the rules that we've discussed in this video, please do leave comments below. We'll get back to as many of you as we can. But that's all for now. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.